Hello and welcome to Women's World Championship Match 2025. I'm your host, Evgenij Miroshnichenko, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Grandmaster Zhongyi. We will be guiding you through the match, and my honor and great pleasure to cast all the action for such wonderful, remarkable players. Well, it's usually the pinnacle of one's career to play the World Championship match. However, for these ladies, they've both been World Champions already. Wenjun, defending World Champion. If we count all the World Champions she won, it will be her attempt at 5th win in the World Championship. Zhongyi once won the Knockout World Champion, lost her title to Wenjun, and now she's trying to claim this title back.
Thank you, Mr. Miro. Good afternoon, everyone, every fans in the broadcast. And today we have the first match of our World Championship, Women's World Championship match 2025. I want to ask you, Miro, what do you think about this match, and what's your emotion today?
Well, it's been a lot of discussions yesterday about who you think will win, and kind of the side question was, do you have a favorite like you want to win? Because sometimes these are like different people. I feel this match will be pretty close. Okay, so we've been witnessing, especially like in the open competition, like match finishes in like 9 games, 10 games. No, I do not expect anything like this here. Will be very close match. And it's very hard if you force me to bet on this player or that player. No, it's very hard to pick. The previous stats we've been checking, it seems that Wenjun has a very slight advantage, but yeah, over a lot of games. So they both know how to win games against each other. There've been a lot of draws as well. So, and by the way, first game can be very, very important. Like it sets the tone for the entire match. Sometimes, well, obviously if you win first game, it's a huge step, but also like the way, let's say you're playing black and then you get a very easy draw that also telegraphs your opponent, I'm very well prepared, please watch out, next game you'll be attacked. Yeah, so it is very, very interesting indeed. We can see Tan already, both players in fact has taken their places. So the game one is about to begin, and I think you wanted to introduce the arbiter and the guests of game one.
Yes, and we have the chief arbiter of this tournament is Sabrina San Vincent. And today we have He Fengxiang, General Director and Part Secretary of Board and Card Games, President of the Chinese Chess Academy, and Xu Bing, Secretary of the Party Committee and the Director of Shanghai Administration of Sports. And now we see the camera from it's Wenjun play white against Tan Zhongyi with black.
Right, and already quite a few things we have to say. It's a fantastic location they are playing in, and we are very grateful to have a chance to. I personally, I've never been, of course. That's my first visit to China. Of course, that's my first visit to Card and Board Games Academy, which is a fantastic museum, if you like, with a lot of medals. Chinese chess players, but also Go players, and in other activities won through these years. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Miro. Because Shanghai is my hometown, it's a pleasure to have these words from you.
Wow, and off they go. First move played.
Yes.
We'll be waiting. From what I can see from a camera view, we do not get the moves yet. Usually you have to wait like a few seconds before the moves appear on the PGN. But from what I can see, it seems like e4 was played by Wenjun, which is,
seems like
I want to say is a bit of a surprise already, because, well, she's like, nowadays you have to be universal. You have to play like all the openings against, well, especially if you prepare against particular opponent. But normally she's a d4 player. That's what I want to say. Like I remember like Catalans from her and all this stuff. So e4, quite interesting. And again, unlike some, open matches when e4 will be answered with e5 and then a Berlin and then, very often a draw about move 20. None of that is happening here. So it is a Sicilian. It is, well, actually it's hard to tell what variation it is for now. It's e4, c5. Do you get the moves on the board? Yeah, okay, I can tell you what happened, and then later on our board should be catching up. Yeah. So e4, c5, knight f3, e6, d4, pawn takes, knight f6, and bishop to d3, not even knight c3, bishop to d3.
Oh, it's a very big surprise.
So
both players.
It's interesting. I mean, I'm not sure what was intended after knight c3. I'm guessing probably knight c6.
Yes,
and
probably
then
knight c6.
Knight c6, and then you intend to transpose into Sveshnikov after knight db5, or there is a line when white takes on c6, so there is, there are options. Bishop d3, to my shame, I'm not aware of this move at all. I mean, I know it exists, but I have no idea like if it's played on high level. Let me quickly see if there are, played by no one else but Magnus Carlsen. And one other guys. I presume it's a blitz game or something, but there are a few high-rated players who played it. So there is Carlsen and Ergaisi, there is Anand against Leko back in 2001. So it is a playable move. Black replied with knight to c6.
Yeah, seems like knight c6 is the most common move here.
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking though, after knight c6, white probably takes. Yeah, already has taken. Yeah, and now, what do you take with it? Probably. She has already taken with the b pawn.
But I think if I play black, I will consider to take with d pawn.
Yeah, I was thinking this, because d takes c6, and then let's say e5 maybe on a next move, maybe.
Yes, maybe next move black will play e5.
Yeah. it's so funny, you know, how my brain works, because I thought d takes c6 is only possible because white cannot play e5, which is correct. Like if white goes e5, there is queen a5 check. And yet, in the game, when she took with the b pawn, I'm asking, what happens if e5? Guess what? It's the same. It's a check on a5 and you lose the pawn. Because if, let's say, if black would not have this check on a5, the e5 would give white like a very serious advantage. But the same thing, e5, queen a5, you just pawn down. Bishop f4, played by the world champion. So she actually wants to play e5 if given a chance.
Yes. Let's say it's a bit different from, for example, there's an opening like knight c3, knight c6, and the take. Of course, e5 is the main line here, but I thought there is some move like bishop d3. So the difference is now white play bishop f4 instead of knight c3.
Yeah, and sometimes maybe you would like to play c4 and then develop the knight. Sometimes maybe this knight goes to d2, c4. I don't know. So it could be like white gets something more flexible compared to positions with knight on c3. d5.
Yes, but seems like the speed from both players shows no one is out of the preparation now.
Yeah, it seems they know what they're doing.
Yes.
So knight to d2, keeping some tension in the center. And
g6 very
g6 very fast. This is interesting. This is interesting. So g6. There is one line in Pulse and Sicilian where white would go, say, how would it be? Say bishop e7, e5, knight d7, queen g4, something like this, right? It's not exactly like the knight is on c3 maybe, but you get the point. Yeah, black plays g6. Yeah, black plays g6, which is...
Actually, I have some ideas. If black play bishop e7 as usual, like if you play knight c3, but I think the position after queen g4, if you castle, maybe I have knight f3, knight g5, some attacks on the king side.
Yeah, again, yes. Normally this knight is on c3.
Yes.
And it takes it a very long time to get there. Right. With knight on d2, it's actually much faster. Knight to f3. h4 maybe you're not castling short, maybe you go h4 and rook h3 even in some cases. Yeah, so this could be dangerous. This could be dangerous. Yeah. So, wow, g6 and relatively fast, bishop f4 to g5. Which is like, you know, against the principle that like when you're starting playing the game, they tell you do not move your pieces twice in the opening. But it's not like, it's the rule, but also it's only the rule for beginners. You have to have a very good reason to play a move like bishop g5, and there is a very good reason, because now bishop g7 is of course impossible.
Yes.
And yeah, e5. So it's either black has to go bishop e7, or what, or h6 maybe. Yeah, bishop e7. What's the plan after bishop e7? That's a good question.
Yeah, but seems like both players have the know a lot of things in this opening, because g6 and bishop g5 seems very unusual.
Yeah, like if you play, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like if I would play this position for the first time, it's very hard to come up with a move like g6, and for sure not in 30 seconds. Like that, she played it so fast. Like you have to stop and think, and okay, there is option A, option B, and okay, maybe g6, and then you. Okay, let me see if there were games like that. So after, yeah, bishop e7 in fact was played. G6 was also played.
Yes.
No high-profile games that I can see. Well, some Grandmaster games here. Some Grandmaster games here. Raunak Sadhwani played against David Gavrilescu, for instance, in 2024. So G6, and then bishop G5. There was one game with bishop G5.
Oh. So here we only can see one game after in this position.
Yeah. Well, once again, I'm not sure how accurate the database is, and nowadays, okay, maybe it's a topic for later, but you know, when somebody says I played a novelty, back in the day that means you found a new move. Nowadays, everything is on the computer, right?
Yes.
so it's almost like impossible. The novelty is the move that you know and your opponent doesn't, but it's all been played, right? It's millions of games on internet and so on and so on. So almost impossible to play a novelty. So bishop g5, only one game in a database where black played bishop to e7.
Yes, and I have some funny story about the novelty because I have played a tournament just maybe 1 week ago, and I have some novelty, and I think it's my very secret preparation. And after I played a game and against my opponent, and I asked him, "Do you know this line?" Because I think it's very secret, and I prepared very well. And he said, like he has he prepares this and with some friends, and like it's like just a very open. Everyone knows.
Everyone knows this line.
Yeah. So from now, it's very difficult to find a move which your opponent
doesn't know.
Yes.
That's true. Well, I'm known for having very bad memory in the openings, so I can tell you one embarrassing story that happened to me. It's back maybe in 2009 or something. So I'm playing an open tournament, and I used to play a lot of like Reti, opening Reti Gambit, this close stuff. And my opponent plays very fast. Some sharp line. Anyway, I trick him later on, win the game. It's not important. After the game, I'm asking, but I thought it's like a very tricky line. Once again, not a lot of people know. And he says, but there is a game. And I'm asking, what game? He says, your game. Well, that was embarrassing. Like he literally prepared using my game, and I forgotten that I played it somewhere in Rapid, and it went to the database, and I didn't check. I thought, okay, this will never happen. There's some sharp sad line. He says there is a game in this line. Which game? Your game.
Your game.
Yeah, this is okay. So at least we do not have our players previously playing this position with either color. Bishop g5 caused Tan Zhongyi to think for the first time in this game. So that's the first time she stops for a bit.
Yes. And actually, I'm Mr. Miro. I have some questions out of the tournament, of the tournament, because I saw Wenjun has Zhu Wenjun's chair is different from Tan Zhongyi's chair today. Tan Zhongyi has her chair is which you cannot move, and Zhu Wenjun has some wheels.
Yeah, rolling with the chair with the wheels. Yeah. So what I know about it, and we can go all the way back to Fischer-Spassky if you've read the history when there was some scandal. So like Fischer was thinking there is something wrong with Spassky's chair back in the day when there were no computers. So I don't know what could possibly be wrong. So from what I understand, players are allowed to pick their chair they feel comfortable in, of course, in agreement with FIDE. So it cannot be, I don't know, some ridiculous chair, pink chair, whatever, but yeah, if you feel comfortable in this one, you can discuss it in advance with the organizing committee and bring your own chair. h7, h6. First attacking the bishop, so bishop h4 I would guess is the most natural. That makes little sense to take the knight, and yeah, we just went to pin the knight, so probably bishop goes to h4, and there is h6 technically is a new move. So at least I do not see any games in a database. So quite early, move 9 already is a new position. She goes bishop h4, right, and then what do we do? Bishop e7, but then it's not clear why we played h6.
Yes. I want to.
What else?
I want to find why Tan Zhongyi played h6.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, can it be? Okay, like playing g5 immediately feels a bit too much. Like, too many pawn moves.
Too tricky.
But maybe I'm thinking, could it be that it's like not bishop e7, but bishop d6, stopping e5 for now, and like if you
play
Castle,
Queen F.
oh, Queen F3.
But
Yeah,
so
like
now
I would have
G5.
G5.
So maybe this the difference after H6 bishop
Oh,
H4.
yeah. So you can play Bishop D6. Yeah, maybe that's the point. So Bishop D6 is one move. Technically,
maybe I will play Queen E2.
yeah, Queen E2, threatening E5 nonetheless. Yeah, yeah, could be, and then. Well, in principle, let's say we go G5, Bishop G3, and we just take. And how bad is it for black? Takes, and then some. Yeah, like it's not clear where the king goes. Yeah, like black has nice center maybe, but the king is a problem. Okay, she decided to go Bishop E7. So just including this H7, H6, then Bishop E7. Quite a solid position, but still black will have to solve the problem, I want to say, of the bishop on C8, right? So it's not clear where the bishop is going.
Yes.
Okay, we'll see. I think maybe they will slow down a little, and we have a chance to provide our viewers with some technical information on this tournament, because it is the same format as previous match, but you know, World Championship matches nowadays they change format very often, so it's better to once again to familiarize everyone. It's 12 classical games, 6 to be played in Shanghai and 6 to be played in Chongqing. We are moving from one city to the other, and interestingly, the players are from, so it's like home, like, you know, like other sports when you play game at home and then game at game away at your opponent's home stadium or whatever. Yeah, so we start with Wenjun's location, Shanghai, and then we move to Tan's Chongqing. 6 games to be played in each city, unless the match is decided very fast. Right, so 6.5. A player scoring 6.5 means she won the match, and there will be no additional games.
Anyway, we will go to Chongqing.
Yeah, we are guaranteed to go to Zhongyi at the very least, right? Now, well, seriously, we do not expect like anyone crushing anybody. It probably will be very, 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 very tough match. Time control is. Again, I want to say standard FIDE time control, but then in the open they use the longer time control. Anyway, so 1 hour 30 for first 40 moves, and then half an hour to the end of the game. And as we already used to, 30 seconds added after each move. Okay, white plays castle short.
Yes. And this time control is different from the men's world championship.
Yeah, where they have 7 hours, right? Like it's 2 hours plus 1 hour plus some 15 minutes, and always this increment. Yeah. So what to expect from this kind of time control? We will have our first time trouble around move 40, so that's in 3.5 hours. Let's say that will be one critical stage of the game. And then after maybe 4.5 hours, it's the time trouble that you cannot escape normally, right? It's very hard. It seems like 30 seconds is substantial, but it's very hard to accumulate time. If you're playing in 30 seconds, normally that's like it's a very, very fast-paced game.
Yes, and it's horrible if you have 30 seconds in the, for example, last 5 moves to 40 moves.
This is also Well, it's very strange, because I still catch a little bit when we were playing with like analog clocks, no increment, no nothing, and we were not so scared, strangely, because like you had this thing called flag. You don't know when it falls. Like I was relatively fast as the kid. I was playing relatively fast, but there were some kids who would make 20 minutes with this. Like you seeing, and at some point you cannot even play the game. You just watch their clock and you think, oh, okay, they will lose. They will lose. No, it's not happening. Yeah. Now it seems like you get 30 seconds on each move, but it's not easy. And again, there have been instances of players just, thinking that everything is under control and then losing on time simply because of a moment of distraction. By the way, a7, a5, overall useful move. I think, I'm not sure how valuable is the space on the queen side, but maybe. And also bishop a6 in some cases, yeah.
And actually, I'm very surprised the speed between two players, because after bishop g5 h6, I think two players are out of their preparation, but Tan Zhongyi played very fast, this move a7 to a5.
Yeah.
I think this is a move. If I play black here, I will spend a lot of time to make sure I will play a5 or rook b8 or castle or something.
Yeah.
Or knight d7.
Yeah. So for white, what would we suggest? Because I was thinking queen e2 to stop bishop a6, but then I'm not sure.
Yes. Seems like queen e2 is
queen e2
very good.
Maybe not bad. Yeah. Maybe c4 later on. So something I was not even concerned, but I'm thinking is knight h5 a move here?
Oh,
I know it looks strange,
move.
yeah, but this knight f4 idea, bishop takes, I guess queen takes, yeah.
Maybe I will go f4.
Maybe f4, yeah, maybe f4. Knight on h5 is not great, yeah. There is an option for bishop a6, but again, I'm not sure how good it is. Yeah, bishop a6. Point being, of course, it's not a blunder. There is queen a7, but again, white probably doesn't take. You go bishop a6, and white maybe goes c4. Or something. And the question still remains: where do you move your king? Probably you castle in this case, but yeah, it's not like black is very comfortable. Yeah,
yes.
There could be some.
Castle
some
is
problems.
also not a safe place. Maybe white have some f5 or something on the king side.
Yeah, so no, I don't think my knight h5 is such a great idea. But also, yeah, what do you do after queen e2, right? Castling might not be safe. That's a question, though. Yeah, maybe she can castle.
I'm not sure. Actually, I will prefer white in this position.
Yeah, it feels like for white it's so natural. All the moves you are making are very natural, right? And you have options. You have c4, you have e5 sometimes. Yeah, for black has to be very clever with her moves not to get into trouble. And yet again, this is our, optically we see this, and maybe some specialists on this position will say black goes king f8, king g7. He's absolutely fine, no worries. Yeah, so this is what our game become nowadays, because we as human, we mostly rely, on short calculation. Compared to computers, our calculation is very bad, right?
Yes.
And on our intuition. And very often our intuition is correct, but in some positions your intuition tells you something, and the other person analyzes it with the computer and knows that your intuition is wrong, right? So we say, it looks dangerous for black, but if you checked everything, there is no checkmate, there is no problem, then maybe you can play this dangerous position.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe after the dangerous position, maybe black will be
maybe black is happy, with with a lot of pawn center and so on. Yeah. I'm taking a peek at what computer suggests, just to see what are the moves. Yeah, queen e2, rook e1, all the
I will bet knight d7 here for black.
After queen e2, yeah.
Yeah, but not sure.
Yeah, knight d7, yeah, maybe. Knight d7, and again bishop takes, queen takes, and white can do whatever he wants to. What's interesting, computer plays some move like queen to e3, stopping short castle for, and this is something not easy to, honestly, not that easy to consider, a move like queen e3. It's a little bit surprising. But still, nothing major. It's slightly better for white according to computer's evaluation, which we could already tell that it looks more pleasant for white, but it's not a great advantage of any sort. Yeah.
It seems white has easier to play in this position, the moves for white.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see.
But actually, I want to say Tan Zhongyi's style, she is really good at to play some position like this. I remember the last Women's World Championship match from Tan Zhongyi against Zhu Wenjun. It's
2018,
yes,
right? 7 years ago.
7 years ago, and Tan Zhongyi wins some games, and actually I think they wins a lot of games. A lot of games are about to win or lose from.
It was not a lot of draws. Yeah, it was a lot of decisive games. Yes.
And I remember Tan Zhongyi wins some games like this pawn style, very tricky line and
very sharp and strategically complex. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so maybe this is her plan for today, just to make everything tricky and make the position unbalanced.
Yeah, let's see.
Yes, Queen E2 played by Zhu Wenjun.
So Queen to E2, and we still don't know what the plan is for Tan, but she plays relatively fast.
Yes.
So it could be, yes, as we said, it's a new position, but could be that she analyzed something similar and she knows more or less what the plan is. I don't know how accurate the time display is, but it shows relatively, well, yeah, it's the same. 1 hour 24 for Zhu Wenjun, 1 hour 23 for Tan Zhongyi.
Miro, you know, it's a very fun fact is the last Women World Championship match is between Zhu Wenjun and Lei Tingjie.
Yep.
And Lei Tingjie and Tan Zhongyi are all from Chongqing.
Yeah. I was checking this today, and I've realized that this match is, well, in a way, like replicates. So it's the same home cities, the players from Shanghai and Chongqing. Yeah, that's amazing. So Zhu Wenjun, she won her title against Tan Zhongyi, right? And she was the only one. Yeah, like I'm just checking players' achievements. I think Zhu Wenjun is the only player in history. It's a woman, man, like open section, whatever, who defended the title in a knockout. It's a unique achievement. So she won in the match, and then next time the World Championship happened, it was this weird years when you would have a match, and then in half a year and 1 year you will have a knockout, and both winners would be world champions. So, and knockout tournament, yes, you have your favorites, but still it's a bit of lottery because like you lose one game and you're out, right? I mean, very often. And she managed to defend the title in a knockout, which is outstanding, absolutely outstanding achievement. So it was in November 2018. Then in January 2020, it was, I think, the first time when the match was held in 2 cities. It's her playing against Alexandra Goryachkina from Russia. It was in Shanghai and in Vladivostok in Russia. She actually was a very tough match for Zhu Wenjun. I think it was a tie break and she won. Yeah, she won in rapids. And then another match in 2023 against Lei Tingjie.
Yes.
Yeah, for Tan Zhongyi, she won her title in Tehran in a knockout, among others defeating Zhu Wenjun. I think it was like quarterfinal Zhu Wenjun, semi-final Harvika Dronovali, and possibly Muzichuk, Anna Muzichuk in the final. Yeah, and I think somebody told me, I'm not sure if it's an official interview or something, but somebody told me that when she won, she felt like I got lucky, something like that. And now it's her big chance, like she feels that she deserves it after winning the candidates. Candidates was very tough tournament and she won it brilliantly. So now she feels like this is my right to fight for this world championship and maybe win my title back from Zhu Wenjun, who took this title from me. Both players are of more or less the same age, born the same year. So cannot really talk much about, you know, youth versus experience. Both are like in perfect age already, so well, quite a lot of experience, but full of energy.
And there's an interview yesterday from Wenjun. She said in the early age, because they are born in 1 year and they go to play World Youth Championship match, maybe under 12 or I'm not sure under which age. And they are living in the same room because they are good friends and the same age. They have the same goal to be the World Youth Championship match champion.
Mm-hmm.
So.
The stayed in the same room. Yeah, yes. Yeah. These are fantastic stories when players, you know, brought up from a very young age and eventually both already been women's world champions and now playing each other for the title. Okay, so a couple more moves. Black decided to castle short, and White replied with Rook A to D1. Once again, keeping tension in the center, not going E5, not exchange. Yeah, well, exchanging on D5 doesn't make much sense unless you win something immediately. So Rook A to D1. Still, the question remains what Black is going to do with, you know, with the bishop on C8, with the spin. Because I don't know, we never said this, but maybe we have to explain that taking on E4 with Black is, well, here it may be tactically bad, but also like in general, right? The exchange, if Black exchanges on E4, leaves Black with very, very uncomfortable position. Usually the structure is like, yeah, let's say somehow we exchange like this, yeah, and then, yeah, maybe queen takes or bishop takes, yeah, the pawns are not great. And yeah, White would be better in this case. So this is something Black doesn't want to do. Yeah, let's see. After Rook A to D1, once again, Zhongyi has to make a choice. So it seems like Black cannot really resolve, let's say, all the issues, right? So has to make some like useful waiting move and then another useful waiting move and so on to, I don't know, like even A4 or bishop B7, something like this. Knight D7 is one of the moves computer recommends, but again, one of the many. So there is nothing dramatic. So in some positions, you know, there is one move that's much better than the others. Here, not so much. Yes. And it all brings me think that maybe White has what we describe as like long-lasting advantage. So the position is just better. Slightly better, but just better. It's not because of this particular move, and then if you don't play this move, advantage disappears. No, it's like this long-lasting initiative, which is a good scenario for Wenjun for game 1.
Yeah.
Once again, I do not know players very well in terms of like psychology and so on, but I think this is the best situation you can have. Like with White, well, best situation would be you win in 10 moves, but this doesn't happen in a World Championship match. Yeah, so to get the position where you are absolutely safe and also have some slight advantage and you can press for considerable amount of time, this is probably a very good scenario to start the match off.
Yes. I think if I have to describe this position, I will say I will compare the position if Black pawn on G7 and White knight on C3. I think there is an opening knight on C3. White has knight on C3 and Black pawn is on G7. The same position.
Yeah. Very similar, yeah, maybe like one tempo, right? Because sometimes it would be like Black played A6 and then A5. Yes. But yeah, in general, the structure could be, yeah, indeed, White knight on C3, then the pawn is like on G7. So this one is much better version for White compared to the other one. Yeah, because White has, yeah, the knight's more flexible, but also C4 sometimes, yeah, just like maybe C4 one day, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think I really like C4 idea for White, because after C4, it's hard for Black to make decisions in with her center pawn. Yeah,
like you cannot really move, and Okay, maybe let's play some move for
Yes,
black.
for example,
King G7
yes,
makes sense, yeah.
and
C4, and then maybe one more thing to mention, that D4, because some players at home, they might think, okay, black gets the passed pawn. So usually, from the experience, we know that this is not a great structure, because what we would do, I mean, we don't have to, but I think maybe we go E5.
Yes.
Maybe we go E5, and let's say knight D7, we just take E7 and
E7.
do, I don't know, F4, or do we play F4?
I think just play F4
Yeah,
and
just play F4, knight E4, knight D6, yeah, something like this. So usually, if black, let's say, was to play C5, just to show, yeah, it's a very good structure for black, you would say. But there is no counterplay, strangely. The B2 pawn is easy to defend, and white has all the time in the world to prepare, I don't know, knight F3, rook D2, G4, you know. Yeah, and black gets a very, very passive position this way. Optically looks nice, protected pass pawn on D4, but it's not going anywhere. You cannot really exchange. The knight on D7 is terrible also. Yeah, like the knight cannot really get anywhere. So this type of positions are usually better for white. There could be exceptions, but yeah, like normally you look at it and you say, no, I don't like it for black. So this is why like it's a little bit tricky for Zhongyi, because yeah, you don't really know what you want the structure to look like. So she ends up playing knight to D7. And then there is, well, an obvious line would be to take and once again maybe consider C4. Do we ever play bishop G3? I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, because if black pawn on G7, sometimes white has the idea bishop G3 to keep the bishop.
Yeah, maybe with the pawn on G6, maybe we could do the same. Yeah, like with the pawn on G6, one thing we want to say, like we exchange the bishops and you get the complex of like weak dark squares, but this is something, once again, very abstract. Yes, and maybe concrete move bishop G3 is, yeah, well, one more benefit of bishop G3, you control B8, just in case, like sometimes, yeah, sometimes rook B8 is an idea, yeah. Bishop G3, well, maybe black would go knight C5 in this case, I don't know. But again, it's not like we are terrified with black exchanging on D3. Maybe it's still playable.
Yes. So maybe I think white maybe well play bishop E7, because bishop G3, knight C5, it's hard for white to play C4. Yeah, right. So I'm thinking if black to move and black takes on D3, maybe I'm fine. But how do I continue, right? I mean, I want to play the C pawn, and somehow it's not easy. So knight D7. Let's say we take on E7, queen to E7. And then again, maybe play our C4 move, or what do we do? Maybe C4?
Yeah, C4. But there is still like some knight C5s or even bishop B7, yeah?
Yes.
Bishop B7. And what's interesting, maybe we could, yeah, like bishop B7, let's say white goes E5, sort of same structure, but not exactly the same, because black will not go D4, right? Black will probably play C5 at some point. And yeah, the bishop on B7 is alive. Knight will go to B6 if needed, or just move the rook and go to F8, defending the king side also. Yeah.
Yes, I think if black don't play D4 after E5, it's not
that scary, yeah.
Yes.
This is far less dangerous for black.
And Miro, what you said about knight C5, I think is also a good move.
Knight D7.
Yes,
wait, after exchange, yeah.
Yes, I think
C4.
If you
yeah, knight C5. Knight C5 is possible. Yeah, knight C5.
Yes, after I
and
take.
In fact,
bishop A6.
there is bishop A6. Yeah.
knight c4. I'm not sure black can do something here, but seems like black can take back the pawn. For example, just play rook fd8. Or maybe I have some better moves. I'm not sure. If d6, I can play bishop c4. And
yeah, there is bishop c4. There is also.
But maybe I can take on here. I'm not sure. Take.
Rook d3,
d3,
exchange rook to d1. Probably a draw, right? Rook e8.
Yes,
rook e8.
It's yes, it's maybe white has a little advantage, but
yes. Wait, maybe if we don't want even a little advantage, can we be a little bit smarter? Once again, it's like a very long line, but so instead of like do all this, like rook d8 is good.
Yeah.
Rook d8, d6, bishop c4, takes on e7, exchange on d3.
Yeah.
Rook d1, and I was thinking maybe rook c8 first. Let's say white moves one of the pawns, I'm guessing.
Yes,
yeah?
for
Like
example,
f3, and then maybe f6, rook takes. No, I'm stupid. King f7, there is rook d7.
d7, yeah.
Or maybe it's still fine, though. Yeah, let's say f6, rook takes.
Yes, but seems
maybe
like
f3 is not great.
Yes,
yeah, maybe f3 is not great. Yeah, so our point is like, yeah, there is like two checks, then king e8, and the rook is so active that black probably holds a draw.
Yes.
And now I'm cheating a little bit, and in this line, in fact, instead of rook f to d8, when black had the pawn on d5, black can take on d5 first, then go rook f to d8, and white, well, has to go queen c6, only move. Then rook from d goes to c8, and then again queen d6 is the only move, and then you exchange on d6 and you go rook c2. And there is no problem at all. Yeah, there is no problem at all for black. Okay, at least according to computer. Yeah. It says absolutely equal, maybe even like slightly more pleasant for black, but should be a draw. Okay, but we got carried away a little bit. So now after knight d7, Wenjun is still thinking. Wenjun is still thinking. No, that's two moves only, like nothing else. Yeah. Nothing else. After bishop g3, knight c5, is there something white can do?
It's also
not clear. Yeah, not clear. You want to play like the c pawn. You want to play c4, but then again, it's not doing much. Knight to f3. But again, it's like something very.
So if I have some ideas, but I thought it's a bit silly. For example, I just play. Let's say, for example, I play rook fe1 and you take. After take, for example, I play rook c1, knight b3 to on the queen
to
side.
c5, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, actually, yes, I had to look at what computer has to say.
Yes. And
from what I understand, like the move it wants to play for black is c5 immediately, or a4. If black is like playing slowly, then your plan is actually good. And there is also like after bishop a6, for example, there is also this queen e3 silly move, like attacking h6, but also keeping an eye on c5. Yes, and then you'll have like knight b3, knight c5 at some point. Yeah. So there is a very clear idea in this one as well. Yeah. So just wait for black to take. Well. The thing is, though, after bishop g3, knight c5, rook e1, can black wait as well?
Yes, of course.
Like some, don't know, bishop b7.
Yes, that's why I
b7
say
or king g7.
Yes, king g7 or
maybe
bishop
king
g7.
g7. But from, let's say, from White's perspective, what do we like more? Because we were just advertising how White's position is good, and now I personally, I don't know what would I choose. Bishop e7 is kind of simpler, but also not clear how to follow. Maybe I just don't play c4. Maybe I just take and go knight f3 and rook e1 and these kind of things.
I just, for example, e5, h4, just focus
Yeah,
on the king
something
side.
like this. Yeah. Again, it will not be as one-sided, because if I cannot play c4 in time, that means black will have her targets on the queen side, maybe.
Yes.
And again, black is not like one of the ways to play would be just go rook b8. Like you go b3, a4.
Yes.
Yeah, and just
A4.
like annoy a little bit. Yeah.
I'm not sure I need to play e5 or h4 first.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
not to play e5 for quite some time yet, like maybe to go h4, queen to e3 in some cases, yeah. Knight d7, f3.
But I think if White plays some moves like this, for example, a5, a4. Let's say here if black don't play rook b8, how about e5 for black? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yes, because first I want to say rook b8, b3, e5, but I see queen d2 maybe. Some tricks for White. So okay, I just play e5 instead of rook b8.
Knight f3 and yeah, e5 immediately. Yeah, it's actually I'm just cheating again, looking at what computer has to say. So the only principal line that I can see is to take and go bishop b5 to play for for dynamics, for initiative immediately, and maybe this is like is good.
Lose a pawn.
But it is, again, like computer line, I can tell you the computer line which probably will not happen. So it's e4, blundering the pawn, rook takes d5, you say, okay, thank you, knight f6, rook goes to, wait a second, d2, knight f6, wait, is it rook d, yeah, rook d2, bishop g4, queen e3, so there is still a pin, and somehow bishop takes, g takes, and White is better. Yeah, like I've gotten to this position, and White has like 0.7, 0.8 advantage.
Yes.
So the king is somewhat weak, but White is a pawn up, can stabilize this bishop with a4, and the king is relatively safe. So this is something to know, that e5 possibly will be inaccurate.
Yes.
But as an idea, yeah, I agree. Like if you can build this center with e5, so maybe some preparation move. Bishop again, bishop b7.
So maybe rook b8 is good.
Maybe rook b8 is,
yes.
Yeah, maybe rook b8 is possible.
Possible, because after b3, later e5, maybe bishop b5 is not a good move for White.
Now you can play e5, and computer is not going for that line, that previous line.
Yeah.
Just play some rook e1.
Yes, because for example, we just play the same line as we say before, bishop g4. You can not play queen e3 now.
Because the bishop is hanging. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely
okay.
right.
Maybe I don't play bishop g4. I can play rook b5.
Yeah, you can play rook b5. The black is just winning in this line, so this is no longer good.
Yes.
Yep. So it's quite a long pause after knight d7, right?
Yeah, actually,
so she still did not decide. Maybe 15 minutes already spent in this position.
Yes.
Still cannot decide, because it is pivotal moment. Yeah, so to keep the bishop or to exchange it.
Yes, I have to say, maybe I'm wrong 30 minutes before, because I thought white is better and I like the position for white, but after 97 and some deep analysis, I don't think white has that better.
Yeah, it's not easy to tell. Again, looking at what computer has to say, it gives like, I'm not giving the lines, but just like evaluation. It's slight plus for white still. But now what changed is that when we try to make human moves, we cannot really find the way. Yes, so sometimes, yes, if you say put the computer, it will beat both of us easily, right? Yeah. But like for human play, now it's not so clear how to continue with white. Like before we were saying, okay, white has easier play. Now, not so easy. And Tan seems to be very confident also.
Yes.
Seems to be very confident, so she probably has a good idea about how to play this position.
Yes.
Yeah. So after 97, still no move from Wenjun, and we will be seeing this kind of picture a lot. When one player is thinking, the other one leaves her chair. There are like, okay, we can see Tan just walking in front of the camera, but also they have their dedicated areas where you sit, you have a screen of what's happening on the board, and you can sort of hide from the attention of the spectators.
Yes.
So on, yeah.
And I saw Wenjun close her coat, take off her coat just now. So that's a signal. Means she is not satisfied with her position, because when I play games, I'm not very satisfied with my position. I will feel hot.
Yeah, you're right. It's actually, I was thinking of this. It's very often, even after the tournament, well, the game especially, like if it's a stressful game, but even after the whole tournament, if you had a good tournament, you say, okay, it was a great playing hole, there was no noise, no nothing. But the moment you have like a bad game, everything is so noisy, and it's too hot, and it's, you know, people are distracting you. It's all mental, it's all inside, right? So we just play as, like, especially during this kind of games where like a lot at stake, a lot of, like it's a game, a match of your life pretty much. We are so electrified that some little thing, little noise can absolutely distract you. And it's part of the game to be able to concentrate for hours and hours. And especially when, let's say, these two players, they are very evenly matched. I was checking their standard rating, the difference is like 5 points or something. Yeah, so very close in every imaginable respect. So at the end, the winner will be the one probably with stronger nerves, with stronger composure, maybe overall more physically fit even to play the longer match.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is as much as like first game is very important, but it's also important to keep, let's say, keep your energy if the match lasts all 12 games.
Yes.
And yeah.
And Mr. Miro, I have a question to ask you, because just now you said Tan Zhongyi, maybe her position here, the position computer suggests is better for white, but Tan Zhongyi seems like she knows the ideas of what she needs to play. So do you think which is more important? For example, to play a position computer said it's totally equal, or to play a position computer suggests it's better for your opponent, but you like it and you know the ideas about it?
Yeah, it's always been, honestly, it's always been a kind of a discussion in a way, or how to say it, like me as the player, I've always been kind of contrarian. I wanted to prove that computer is wrong. And you know, back in the day, it was possible. In some cases, one of the latest examples would be King's Indian. You know, the blocked position, and computer would say white is better, and then you checkmate the computer. Okay, it was a long time ago. Yes. So we always were analyzing this kind of a computer is pessimistic, but we look at it, we believe in the position. Sometimes it would be possible to, let's say, to prove Nowadays, of course, computers are way too good,
Yeah.
way too good to completely refute what computer is saying, but I still think that you can play some positions that, again, depends on how deeply you analyzed it. Because our evaluation, point 2, point 3, it can mean a lot of things. It can be point 3, let's say that it goes on and on and on and black is suffering. Or sometimes you see this evaluation, you think it's bad, and then it's a forced line, some rook endgame,
Yes.
your opponent is up a pawn, you know for sure how to make a draw, right?
Yes,
and
it's
that's
so
why computer says, but white is better. You say, yes, okay, but I also know how to make a draw.
Yeah.
And it can also be. So I'm not sure it's the case here. I think it's just the position that needs to be played. But if Zhongyi is comfortable, I think it's fine. It's fine. And this is also the way to outplay your opponent, maybe, to get in some position where you are more comfortable, even if, like, objectively it's not the best. Because, recently there was, like, it was a part of a joke, but an argument that maybe the best possible game in chess is a draw in Berlin, the stupid draw when they go queen e4, queen d4, queen
Yes.
e4. Computer approves all the moves. It says it's the best moves, but what? Do we have to make all draws like
Yes.
this? Yeah. So, well, by the way, we have a move, c4. And exchange on e7 and c4.
Thank you very much. Because it's a question I think a lot of fans, and also for me, it's a very I learn a lot from your words, and this is a very good to share to us.
Yeah, but look, I'm no longer active player, and I probably did not analyze much openings like with the modern computers. But because of the commentary and so on, I know a lot of top guys. And for instance, I can tell you that, say, Grishuk, well, one of, for ages, one of the world top players, he would go with precise, like, okay, computer says it's the best move, so I will try to understand why it's the best move. And then you have guys like Daniil Dubov, for example, who sometimes plays positions you think, okay, but computer says you're lost. And he's ready to gamble. He knows that, okay, even if it's objectively a bad position, my opponent has no chance of finding it. And he proves very often that he's right. Yeah? So you can do this because, once again, we cannot replicate all the moves of computers, right? And
so maybe it's
after all, we are still playing at the board.
Yes, it's decided which your style is.
Yeah, so it's almost like a style on the board, but also approach. Are you more of a, I don't know, scientific person? So you believe that you can solve the game of chess, or you accept that this is a competition, it's more of a sport. Yes, I'm ready to risk, and like, okay, if you punish me, yes, but also I can win. I have better chances of winning. So c4, and now it's Zhongyi's time to think. It's a very important decision. So we were looking at knight to c5, I think. Yeah, was one of our guesses was knight to c5. Also, bishop b7 is possible. So I guess she might spend some time right here.
Yes.
And also because, it will be a very long match and a very long day usually. Like day one, we do not expect any short game. I think we will take a chance to take a small break and return in a few minutes. Still no move? Yeah. I guess maybe that's a good time for us to take a break, and you guys will be able to see the players from the camera view while we are away. We promise this break will not be a long one.
So
we'll still need a couple of minutes, I guess, right, to set up going on a break. But for now, like at least at least I'm happy that my my prediction that Zhongyi will be thinking here is, it would be embarrassing if I would say, okay, she will be thinking and then she makes a move in an instance. Again, checking what Compi has to say. Knight e5 is probably even more forcing. You can go knight e5, I guess, where white, I don't think white can move the bishop. I don't think white can go knight f3, so it's white's probably forced to enter this line that we were looking at, like e takes, knight d3, queen d3, c takes, and so on.
Yes, so here I think it's a very big.
I just thought we could. Yeah, I just thought we could go, but yeah. So it is an important moment, right?
Yes. And I think it's very hard to make a decision because maybe it's a decision. Maybe black.
She does play.
Right.
Yeah, she does play knight e5.
e5.
So she's entering this relatively forcing line.
Yes. Because once my one of my coach said if you need to make some pawn to in the center in the middle game, so it will decide another style of the game.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Like the most like this is the question actually coach is getting a lot. Like
yeah.
how because we are. It's easy to say think in critical moments, but what is critical moment? You don't know, right? And yes, of course, when tactics come about, yes, of course, you have to calculate. But also, like very good advice would be if you change the structure or you have a chance to change the structure, always think because it can be two different games. If you take the pawn or you move the pawn forward, can be different games. So knight e5, and we will leave you guys for a short break with Wenjun being to move. Yep.
Yes.
Welcome back, everybody. We return to game one of Women's World Championship match 2025. 17 moves being played so far in the first hour of play. It looked like Wenjun gotten something out of the opening, but now it's more and more we think of it, it seems that, maybe early to say we headed towards a draw, but the position seems to be equalizing. I'm your host Miro, and I'm joined by Zhongyi, Grandmaster, and I was told you've been one of kind of young talents. So Jeffrey Chong told me that you played the same under 16 World Championship or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, I think Jeffrey Chong and I played in 2016 in India, the World Youth Championship match, and he wins the champion. I'm the fourth, finished the fourth, and we become good friends after the tournament.
Yeah. So why I'm bringing up Jeffrey, because we forgotten to talk about very important topic for the World Championship match, the teams of the players, right? And
yes.
Jeffrey is helping Zhongyi. That's the only coach that I know she has. She probably has more. Like usually you have a team of specialists for such events. Wenjun is assisted by Nihua, right? Grandmaster Nihua, and Maxim Matlakov from Russia I've seen also on a team for Wenjun. Yeah, let's update our viewers on what has happened while we were on a break. We've seen knight e5 being played, right?
Knight e5, and this is the position we left the broadcast, and they played a few moves. E takes d5, takes, c takes d5, and queen e3.
Queen e3, a move is the tempo. Attacking, well, technically attacking 2 pawns, right?
Yes, d5 and
d5 and h6. So queen e3. Now, black has to find the right reaction. Queen g5. How bad is queen g5?
I think.
Or is it bad at all? Maybe not bad.
Yes, but I think Wenjun will satisfied with the position after queen g5, because it's her style to play this kind of.
Yeah, we can show. Yeah, queen g5, exchange on d5,
and maybe knight
and some like
f3.
knight f3 or knight. Oh wait, knight f3. Could it be bishop g4? I think if I want to draw, maybe we can show this line. It's somewhat, a chicken game. So I just want to draw, I don't want to fight. Yeah, bishop g4, rook takes d5, take on f3, and I was thinking f to b8, maybe rook f2, or f to c8, something like this.
Yes.
And just go to c2. So I'm 2 pawns down for a moment, but king side pawns are doubled, so I'm not very scared. And the queen side pawn I should be able to win back. Yeah, rook d8, d2, and
it's close to a draw.
Yeah, should be very close to a draw. So if white wanted to avoid this, maybe she should go knight b3 and not a knight f3. Yeah. So queen g5 maybe is sufficient, because what else do you play if not queen g5? h6 pawn feels like very important.
Yes.
You cannot really sacrifice the h6 pawn. Yeah, I think it should be queen g5.
It seems like I haven't seen too much good moves here. I want to say queen h4, but after knight f3, but maybe it's not a good move. Queen c4, queen h6 seems like.
Yeah, how do you stop knight g5? Yeah,
yes, too much easy attack here.
Yeah, rook d4, rook h4 also. Yeah, this looks very scary. It probably is very scary.
Yes, so maybe queen g5
is what she has to do. Yeah, and then does white have anything apart from exchange? Not really. So I'm asking computer. It says, okay, you can play queen c3, but this is this is equal. Yeah, queen c3, bishop a6.
I don't think Wenjun will play queen c3, bishop a6.
So as you said, like maybe we should mention it again. So Wenjun really likes this positions with clear plan, like when she's safe, when you can easily tell like what is your objective, like in this position after exchange on g5 looks.
And to talk about Matlakov and Jeffrey Shun, I think both of two players played in Chinese league.
Huh.
Yes, I'm not. I mean, maybe 5 years ago, or maybe 6-7 years ago. I'm not sure which year. And Zhu Wenjun is from Shanghai, and also Shanghai is my hometown. I'm a teammate with Zhu Wenjun.
So you're playing for the same team. Yeah.
Yes, and Matlakov is one of our
foreign players.
As
nice.
usual, yes.
Yeah, it's interesting with Chinese league because it's somewhat of a mystery. So you hear that like there is a lot of games, but they are not coming to database, or not all of them. Yeah, and I remember some stories. I think it was Wan Hao who told us he was playing the Russian league, I think, and he had a good result, and people were congratulating, saying, let's say you reached 27 something, and he says, no, but I played Chinese league, and I lost a lot of rating against, let's say, players with 2400 who are very stubborn, very strong players that we in Europe maybe haven't heard names of, but that means like there's a lot of promising players that can like one day simply explode. Yeah, come out of nowhere, you haven't seen them, and then they are like very top grandmasters. Which, by the way, once happened with Wan Hao himself, I think. Like when I seen him first, I actually played him first game. I was higher rate. He was like 24 something, and it was in Dubai Open in 2004, 2005 maybe. And then next time you see him in a year, he is 2650. Next time you see him, he's 2750.
Yes.
Yeah, like progressed very fast. Okay, Queen G5 on the board. Queen G5 on the board. And let's see how fast. So our prediction is Zhu Wenjun will exchange. So how fast she will make this decision. There is a little bit of time difference, but nothing dramatic. 57 minutes for Zhu Wenjun, 1 hour for Zhongyi. And especially if the queens will be exchanged on G5, we do not expect like any serious time trouble. Yeah, the position is not too complicated. There is still, of course, room to make mistakes, but yeah, normally players can play this type of positions a little bit faster.
Yes, and if we are playing the games now, and I saw I have 56 minutes, and I think I will play Queen G5. I will never fail, and I will in time trouble. So
yeah, so that's very safe. I was thinking, what else can we somehow go? No, I mean, knight b1. I was thinking, but no, this is stupid. It feels like black always will have. Let's say if we get to this endgame, Queen G5, H5, yeah, and exchange on D5, and then whatever white does, or Rook B1, or Rook E1, or Knight B3. One of the ways would be like not to care about the D pawn. Just say develop the bishop somewhere. Go Rook FB8, go A4, and just like always keep an eye on B2 pawn. It will be very hard for white to do something. Yeah, maybe like bishop E6, Rook B8, D4, A4.
Yes.
So we will end up like very likely exchanging all the queen side and the D pawn.
And well, ends in a draw.
Yeah.
Sometimes even I can give up my D pawn. It's also not a bad move for playing for a draw.
Yeah, just like, okay, the D pawn gone, but yeah. So exchanging and going for this endgame is on one hand very safe, but also maybe not complex enough to actually win the game. On the other hand, there is like no pressure on Zhu. It's
Yes.
not like the game you have to win at all cost, right? So maybe she will be satisfied with this scenario. Just takes, like, put a little pressure and prepare for game 2.
Yes.
Um,
And actually, I think in the World Championship match, maybe both players are, of course, are very strong. It's not very, it's not very big differences from white and black they played.
yeah,
I mean-
maybe nowadays, like, especially that everyone is very well prepared. No
Yes.
one plays like, this crazy lines like back in the day, like Kasparov, this, like, the sharp Najdorfs. Like, now people are much more reserved. They're trying to be solid with black. And then, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe there is no much difference, like playing with white, yes, it's more comfortable and not a huge advantage. And maybe your real advantage is, like, you keep energy till, like, later games, and then, yeah, each game can be decided with one mistake, and then doesn't matter
Yes.
what color pieces you play. And this is, once again, I'm thinking that's such a unique experience playing a match, like a World Championship match in particular, but also, like, there's a lot of very strong Grandmasters who never played a match in their life. Like, maybe World Cup, which is 2 games, right?
Yes, yes.
Or maybe a few matches. Maybe you advance in the World Cup, but still you play 2 games and then possibly a tiebreak against the same opponent. But if you play 12 games, so apart from, like, this chess, pure preparation and so, there's a lot of psychology also, right? It's a lot of psychology. And if you are, it can be different scenarios. Like, we've seen, I think Carlsen Karyakin was, maybe Carlsen Caruana, but we felt like it's very close. Carlsen Karyakin, I remember this match where
close.
Magnus was, like, dominating practically every game. It was very close to win, and then very close to win, and so on. And at some point he lost simply because of nerves, I think, because he was, like, furious at this guy. I cannot win. Like, he doesn't want to lose, even bad positions. So this is one of the possible scenarios. If, like, you constantly get the chance, and you miss the chance, and you miss the chance again, at some point, yeah, you can lose patience. This is, yeah, it's a very emotional game also. But yeah, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. It's only game 1, so
Yes.
they have to have a lot of patience, a lot of prepared ideas. Yeah. So once again, Wenjun is thinking that probably means she is considering other moves, which we couldn't really come up with something serious. Well, I just realized what Queen C3 is about, so that black cannot really take on C4 because knight E4, right? So,
yes.
so if white does play Queen C3, I'm looking
like
at what the robot says. Yeah, bishop. Even bishop B7. Yeah, the board kills bishop A6, but I don't see the reason why not bishop B7. Bishop B7. Well, somehow knight. Okay, like, we can say computer likes this position. Like, if bishop b7, knight f3, queen.
For example, e7.
E7, yeah, and knight e5. And for whatever reason, it says white is slightly better. Maybe once again, nothing dramatic, but the knight on e5 is, I think, is good. And
sometimes.
Yeah, it's a little bit. If rook f d8, for instance, then c takes. D5 and bishop D5, knight G4, and some nonsense starts. Knight G4, yeah, knight F6, knight H6. Yeah, so this is something black would probably like to avoid. So after Queen C3, bishop A6 is what it likes. Yeah, bishop A6 and wants to just like take on C4. Yeah, you cannot do much. Yeah, like I'm checking the lines, and it ends up being like white jumps around, and then you take on C4, and this is like very, very hard to imagine anyone winning this position. Like knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes. It's so equal.
Yes. So Miro, we jumped back to the what championship match between Carlsen and Karl. I remember that Carlsen also he has some interviews. He said he think he is the better player. He can he think he is better than his opponent and he will win first. But we know Karl is a very solid player.
Yeah.
Yeah, his style is to keep his position and make every game. I don't want to say draw, but make every game under his control. So I remember the game between both players. It's not like Carlsen can win every game before he lost the first game.
Yeah. It's tricky that you can be a big favorite in the match, but still, it's like winning one particular game cannot happen, and then the second game you don't win, and it was. So I'm thinking of like a recent history of Carlsen's matches, so it was tiebreak against Karyakin, then tiebreak against Fabi. So even though we knew Carlsen should be a favorite, here we don't even have such a clear favorite, right? I'm not sure. It's very, very well matched. So it probably means this will be like all 12 games will be played. And on the other hand, the history of Women World Championships, they don't make such many draws. Right, yes. So there will be results. It will be more like Nepo Ding Liren match, right? Yes. So one player wins, then the other player equalizes, and that there was a lot of mistakes in this match, Nepo against Ding Liren, but also it was exciting to watch. Like you could not predict what's going to happen.
And actually, I think the last 4 World Championship match between Zhu Wenjun and her opponent all goes to the last round. Right. So there was never like somebody winning convincingly. So she played a tiebreak against Goryachkina and then Lagno
against Lagno in Khanty-Mansiysk, the knockout. Yes, exactly. There was a tiebreak against Lietingje. It was
win the last
+1. In the last game.
And also +1 against Tan Zhongyi in the first.
So with all the games played, of course. Okay, so queen takes g5 played, and c d5, e d5 happen.
Yes.
And now
rook e1.
And now rook e1. Rook e1 is played. Still, if you'd ask me, like, you have to play this position. Which color you choose? Probably white.
Yes, I think. I will choose white.
Like white still has somewhat better prospects, but I'm looking at computer lines, and computer is says anything is a draw.
Yes.
So 4 moves: a4, king g7, g4, rook b8, whatever. Likes all of them. Says everything is equal. And
this position makes me. Remember the World Championship match between Zhu Wenjun and Goryachkina. Their first game is very similar like this. It's also a knight pawn against the bishop pawn. White has knight, black has bishop. And just like this, white has a slightly advantage, but it's very difficult for anyone to win this position.
Yeah, so maybe instead of me saying all the time computer says it's equal, maybe we can show why we think white has an advantage. Let's say white gets the knight on d4 somehow, like rook e1, and I don't know which move it's going to be. Okay, let's go king g7, and then after knight f3, let's play something passive, like bishop. No. Now we say g5 pawn is hanging. So g4, knight d4. And then that's still probably a draw, right? But maybe, no. I mean, this is very silly. Computer says no, you have no chance. Even though for us optically we would say it's a good knight on d4. Yeah,
And
maybe the g4 pawn is what is annoying. Yeah, like if the g pawn is somewhere. Yeah, like now you try to bring the king to the center, and then they go rook h8 and attack your h pawn. Yeah. So, but in some ideal world scenario, let's say all the rooks somehow disappear, you get the king on e3, and you start moving your b pawn, and that's your hope for advantage. So for this, a lot has to happen. Yeah, black has to cooperate a lot.
yes.
Yeah, and even in this position, yeah, black should be making a draw relatively easy.
Yeah, it's not hard for Tan Zhongyi to make a draw in this position.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think King G7. You mentioned there as four moves: Rook B8, A4, G4, and King G7. Both are all of these moves are equal. I think. Compare about this, I think King G7 may be the worst between.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, because like with black you still feel like I have to be careful, and King G7 it feels like move like almost like pass.
Yes.
Yeah. So A4 logical, right? G4 maybe to say okay, I don't want you to go knight F3. Yeah, G4 also makes sense. G4 and then what? Knight B3 maybe.
Maybe. I think maybe A4 for black.
A4 again, knight D4. And
Rook B8.
Rook B8. Yeah. And if let's say B3,
yes,
we go A B3, A B3, and what? And maybe even. Again, for whatever reason, I want to go bishop. No, bishop f5 is bad. That's actually maybe the way to lose. Let's say if I'm too relaxed and I go bishop f5, you exchange, take on d5, rook b3, take on f5, and then g4 pawn is in danger. It's probably still a draw with computer precision, but this is something you don't want to do.
Yes.
Yeah, this is something you don't want to do.
If the pawn is on G7, you mentioned some. For example, we have some opening with computer. They said he said we can go to an endgame, rook 3 pawns, rook against 2 pawns, and it's equal. This is
this is one is a little bit tricky with pawn on G4. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is maybe something we don't want to do. But again, like I'm trying to defend actively. But also, do you need to? You maybe just once again play the stupid King G7 move, Rook H8, and just wait. Yeah, because for white it's also not clear how to progress. Even though now looking at it, maybe Rook E5, Rook E5. There are some tricks. There are some tricks. Again, if you have to choose, it's white we are choosing all the time.
Maybe I will go Rook B6 and Rook D8, something like this. Yeah, of course, everyone will choose white to make
to play. Maybe it's some sort of what you call not really a fortress, but like we reach some position and then white cannot make more progress because the knight on d4 has to defend this b3 pawn.
Yes,
and that's why it's problematic for white to make further progress. Tan Zhongyi keeps thinking. So she might be considering some, forced lines. What could be? Maybe one of the lines that, remember I was trying, like move the bishop and then go rook b8, kind of not care. I mean, in a position on the board, the one after rook e1.
Yeah, for example.
If we say go, no, it's not easy at all.
Yes.
Not easy at all.
Actually, I think to play a knockout or a match like a World Championship match, to play some position you will not lose and you have a little chance to win is a good choice.
Yeah, well, it really depends on, let's say, on Wenjun's black's game. Right?
Yes.
I mean, if she equalizes easily with black, let's say all the black games she has covered and there is no problem whatsoever, then having 6 games like this with white, you just win one of them, right? And this is it.
Yes.
And this is it. So this could be her strategy. So until I get some trouble in my black games, I'm not risking with white. I will be like putting some slight pressure. And also now again, I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking too much at computer evaluation. If I switch it off and I flip the board so I can see it from black's perspective, I'm a little bit scared, to be honest. Like when I look at it from black's, yes, d5 pawn is weak, I understand this. I would not be terrified, but I understand, like, I have to be careful.
Yes.
I have to be careful. So, yes, agreed.
And I think I need to mention that Wenjun is in the end game. I think Wenjun is the much better player between those
two.
Those two, yes.
Yeah, well, I do not really know how good Zhongyi is in the endgame, but Wenjun for sure. I remember like some examples of her, like wonderful technique. Yeah. All right, so it might be another important decision for Zhongyi.
Yes.
Because we just transformed it. Yeah, well, coming back to our conversation on critical moments in the game. So one critical moment was when, let's say, the queens were exchanged and we've gotten to this structure. Now, once again, so series of forced moves finished, like when they were just capturing, recapturing, and now she's very smart to think and decide on what to do, because as we said, like you look at the computer, any move is good.
Yes.
But this is a very bad attitude. In my personal experience, like there have been a few games where I relax a little bit too early. I look at it and I say, okay, this is like, I will not have a trouble, you know, to make a draw, and then, yeah, you play a couple of like inaccurate moves. It's still not lost, but you already get some problem.
Yes.
And you still have the memory. Wait, but I thought it's an easy draw, so I will just play on, and play on, and yeah, and then eventually you miss. Maybe there was like study-like path to a draw, and you lose the game which you were not supposed to lose. Yes. Simply because not like taking it seriously. So she's doing a wonderful job of understanding. Yes, it might be a safe position, but it's better if I play a few precise moves and make sure that the position is equal.
I have some experience to play against some stronger player. For example, if I play some 2,700 players in classical games, and I feel okay, I have the draw position, and then I make a little mistake, and after the little mistake, maybe I just for example, computer says 0.00 to 0.2 now. But I will feel emotional for myself, and I will regret for my decision. And this will really bad in the. This will be really bad in my game, and maybe it will go down and go down. And I.
This is also this sounds familiar, and I've done it myself. I've seen like other players doing it. So you had no problem. You made one mistake, and now you are in a slight trouble. And maybe if this, like say, I give you this position from the start and say, okay, this is your position, you have to defend. Say, okay, yeah, it's unpleasant, but I will defend. But remembering that I made this position, it was much better than, and this has an effect on us. Yeah, we are all humans, so it's a lot of psychology in chess. Rook b8, it's an interesting move. Well, obvious point is to attack the b2 pawn, and I'm thinking now, if white goes b3, can we play like g4 or something, like not allowing white to get the knight on d4 so easily, like to go g4 maybe, and then I'm not even sure how white continues, because if you go knight f1 to e3, then I guess bishop e6, knight e3, and maybe it's already time for a4 and just start exchanging the pawns.
Oh, it seems
this could be like very, very forcing line to simplify everything.
Yes.
It can be a very forcing line to simplify everything and just like go a4, and if white takes, I don't know, rook b4, rook a8,
Yes, rook b4 seems like better. Because after knight d5, bishop d5 takes rook a4, it's really
It should
easy.
be a draw, but also I'm just thinking, I was also planning to do this, but now I'm thinking knight d5, maybe we take a4 immediately, because the bishop on e6 is actually a good piece. Maybe you just take on
yes.
a4 immediately. Knight c3, rook a3. I mean, how can you lose this? Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah, rook a8 and just yeah, just a draw. Yeah, so it can be that if she really takes this path, and by the way, b3 was just played. Yeah, b3 was just played. If she really takes this path of going g4, it can limit white's chances like entirely. If the knight is not appearing on d4, then...
So maybe let's try your move, knight b1.
Knight b1 here. Yes, and now it's a little bit different, because if black goes bishop e6, then after knight c3 there is no a4.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, so this is clever. And okay, let me see. Rook b8, b3, g4, and knight
c8?
to b1.
I think I
yeah, maybe we can do this. Yeah, you're right. So bishop e6 here, rook c8, and if they take, we go rook c2. Yeah, again, it feels like our main problem in this structure wasn't our main problem as black wasn't the losing the d5 pawn. It's the blockade of the d5 pawn.
Yes,
so knight was much stronger on d4, right? When the knight was on d4, this is where we had some problems. Like if we lose the d5 pawn, okay, at least we get our pieces active and probably should manage to make a draw. Yeah, again, computer says it's a draw by a huge margin, like almost any move is a draw. Well, for human play, you still want to be careful, ideally not to drop any material.
Yes.
But also, yeah, it seems there is quite a bit of insurance. There is also an idea to wait for knight f3, right, and just go bishop g4 after knight f3. But this is somewhat. Or
also,
maybe bishop g4 immediate. What did
sorry?
she do? She did play g4.
G4,
yeah, she did play g4. So following what we thought was interesting. Yeah, so knight b1 is maybe a better try.
Yes, but
still
bishop
our
e6.
bishop e6, knight c3,
rook c8.
Also, I just realized this d4 pawn is g4 pawn is actually quite annoying. Because one of the ways to play this position would be I'm lifting the rook to e3, let's say for now rook e3, and then let's say the pawn is on h5. Yeah, I would go maybe h4, king h2, king g3, like lifting the position slowly. Now I'm very limited. The only kind of luft I can make for my king is g3. This is the move I do not want to play because it's like weakens all the light squares. So rook e3 and black can go rook c5, I guess, or rook b4.
Like not sure which one is better.
Yeah. So should have no problem whatsoever. And again, like if white is not careful, maybe one day black will start playing.
Yes.
Yeah. So white, of course, can just instead of rook e3, can just take on d5 and force a draw pretty much.
Oh, I don't think so. If you play knight d5, rook c2.
Maybe not forcing a draw. Maybe it's not so easy. In fact, like if I lose my a2 pawn, now black will be clearly better. Or maybe some knight f4 is the
knight
move.
f4, yes.
Bishop on e6 is too good. Yes, maybe knight f4, and after bishop f5, I can probably like play rook e2 for now. And again, it's unlikely that white's going to win to lose, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, so it's still should be just a draw.
Yes. Yeah, maybe black can play g5. And okay, it's still a draw. Maybe some moves like
b3,
yes.
A b3 takes a 4.
That's draw. Oh.
I have to be a little bit careful with white.
Yes, but this is not.
Maybe what can we do, like to really? Well, h3, g3. No, g3. H3. Yeah, maybe we can play h3. Because if g3, we take, go rook c3, and we threaten the g3 pawn with a check.
Yes.
So h3 and after g
take,
takes,
and
maybe
rook,
just like rook
c3.
c3, c4, c5. I
So
think
all
maybe
of
rook
these
c5 should be
should be
a
the
relatively easy
easier.
draw. Yeah. So
Yes.
so a lot of drawish lines.
Yes. Seems like this one is hard to end with anyone wins.
Yeah, it's very hard to imbalance anything. Knight, well, she
F1.
made a move, knight to f1. Yeah, and very likely black just goes bishop e6,
Yes.
knight e3, and we said a4. But now I'm also thinking, like, can black play rook d8 after knight e3? Just not giving the pawn for now. But maybe rook d4.
Rook d4?
Yeah, rook d4.
Rook d4. But my king, I don't like.
The king on g1 is still not ideal. Yeah?
Yes. But still, I think after rook d4, maybe one.
Maybe some slight problems for black. Yes.
Yes. For example, let's say rook. If you play rook b4, I goes rook d1.
Rook d1. Yes.
If you take rook c8, I'm not sure this is good or not. Maybe I can play g3 because if my rook goes to a4, it's some problems for black. This square.
Yeah, and well, one day maybe even knight g4 is like
yeah.
something. It's usually, of course, yeah. You take g4, white goes, black goes somewhere like rook c2, but not clear. Yeah, you're
Yes,
right.
because,
Yeah, it can be problematic. Yeah, this is something black probably doesn't want. So a4, and she did play a4
yes.
already. Yeah, that's more or less forcing way of making a draw. She doesn't even play bishop e6. She plays a4 immediately, which may be even clearer. Yeah. Something from the regulation that we did not mention. Players are not allowed to agree a draw until move 40.
Yes.
Which is, well, I shouldn't be criticizing the rules, but I think this one is a little bit excessive because this is not a friendly tournament. This is a World Championship match. It's unlikely that they will make, like, you know, this draw in Berlin in 10 moves. But yeah, so are the rules. So are the rules, and maybe, like, what's that, move 23?
Yes.
Maybe they will have to look for the repetition. If everything simplifies, you don't want to be playing like rook endgame 3 versus 3 for another 15 moves. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, anyway, it seems it's still not concluded, but we believe heads towards like simplifications in a draw. It's a nice opening game for the World Championship. So everybody tested each other. We are still not sure, I believe, okay, I can speak for myself, and I think you would agree that we are still not sure if there was an advantage for white and where it was, right?
Yes,
because it looked very pleasant. We were advertising how, okay, white's position is so nice, and then it's all gone.
Yeah.
And it's hard to really to show the moment and say, okay, Wenjun made this move, it was a mistake, and that's why she has no advantage. No, I mean, she was playing very logically. And maybe it's just done analyzing this position, like understanding it better than.
Yes, actually, I checked some games from Tan in the last 2 years, 2024 and 2025. I saw some games she drew the game, and maybe according to computer, she is worse in the opening or maybe in the
middle game,
early middle game. But she just easily managed to play to equal. And even I checked with the engine, I don't know how how her opponent can do better in the position.
Yeah, so that's usually a sign of a very strong player, right? So that like. Computer criticizes your moves, and then still you go with them and you achieve the result you want. Yeah.
Yes.
So she will be very tough to beat, but same goes for Wenjun, I believe. Yeah.
Of course.
These are, as we keep saying, like incredibly tight match. And yeah, it's very hard to predict or to name the favorite, yeah, let alone predict the result. After a4.
After a4,
I do not know even how do you keep the game going. Okay, let's take on a4, right?
Yes.
Because otherwise, like black will just like exchange all the pawns. So we take on a4.
rook b4,
Black
I think.
probably goes rook b4, right? And if I go a5, rook b5, and again it's like forcing all the pawns to disappear.
Yeah.
Knight e3, and we take, and this is it.
That's it.
There is no. I mean, you can try defending a2 pawn, but no, it doesn't make any sense. Bishop e6, rook a8.
Yes.
And again, if you're not careful, actually, if somehow black plays d4 and you cannot take, you are in a big trouble as well.
Yes.
Of course, white will end up just taking on d5 one day. All right, so well played by Don.
Yes.
After a4, it's really hard to suggest any way of like continuing the game.
I think so far both players shows they are in good form in this match, because in the opening first 10 moves both players are well prepared, as I think, and both players knows the ideas in this opening, and no mistakes so far.
Not at all. Yes, and well, for Wenjun especially, like I understand she does experiment with e4, but still her main move is d4, and yet she handled this position, at least like from the opening perspective, she handled the position very well. And for Tan, I'm trying to recall, Sicilian is not only the Sicilian is what she plays. She plays like different openings.
A lot of openings.
A lot of openings, but this is nowadays becomes like a trend, even in women's chess, right? Because it used to be like back in, let's say, in my days when I was active, normally you would have repertoire, and you see the guy, this is the Knight of Sicilian guy, this is the French guy. Yeah. Then it was maybe strangely, like maybe Evgenij was the first one to literally play everything. He has a lot of ideas, he analyzes a lot, and he can play pretty much any opening. And of course, like big guys like Kasparov. I never gotten a chance, of course, to play Gary. But yeah, I had remember having a game with Evgenij in European individual, and I'm opening the database, and I'm closing it in 10 minutes because I understand like it's impossible to prepare. This guy will do something, and I will be playing over the board. Right, but then it became kind of the policy, so nowadays everybody plays a lot of openings, and the guys who actually play the same are exceptions, like MVL, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. For a very long time he would be like only Grunfeld and Najdorf, right?
Yes.
Nowadays even him sometimes experiments with different openings.
Yes.
So these guys are exceptions. For the ladies, they kept like their repertoires, but now you can see more and more that they are very universal players. They can prepare against particular opening, can play anything. Yeah, that's the evolution of modern chess, because like everybody knows opening so well, and you have to experiment. You have to try to surprise. Otherwise, it's very hard to get. Not even the advantage. I'm guessing like we can say very often you don't get playable position. So it's so much analyzed, and if you let your opponent play all the preparation, it will be some like draw at the end. Yeah.
But I think the main difference is because now the engines are better than it used to. So it's easier for any level of the players can learn more openings.
Maybe, yeah, right, because, yeah, you're right. I think when first time I've gotten an engine, let's say, which would be 2002, 2003, something, to these years, it's almost like 25, is it, 24. I remember you analyze some Sicilian with the engine, and you would be, okay, I don't like what you are saying.
Yeah, yes.
And it would be even some tactics, like if it's like not 5 moves but some long long-lasting attack. Like, you know, okay, I go knight d5, for instance, the Sicilian, and it's a long-lasting initiative. Computer would say, no, this is you're a piece down, and in 5 moves it will understand, oh yeah, you know what, you have a good attack.
Yes.
Now it all disappeared, right? So back then you also had to have intuition, and maybe like computer says it's a good line and you could refute it or still play it. Now, yeah, like if you can be creative still, as we discussed with Dubov case, for instance, but also if you don't want to be creative, you can just like wait for a computer to tell you the best moves, memorize them, and till some level you can do this, right?
Yes.
And then that's why like the elite players, the top players, they play a lot of different openings to outplay somebody who just memorized, memorized the moves.
Maybe the only chance to outplay other players is to play almost every opening, and then your opponent cannot easily prepare the,
Yeah, you're right, because it's not only, let's say, one option back then would be that I have a reliable opening repertoire that I've analyzed. And now, if you tell me, okay, this guy plays this line, let's say in the Grunfeld, maybe in 1 hour I can prepare, right? Back then it was, I don't know, 1 month. Now it's maybe 1 hour. I'll just check, oh, okay, this line, okay, there is a safe move. I just do this, I memorize, and I'm ready to go.
Sometimes, for example, I saw a player, for example, if I want to win a player, and if I play e4, he only to play Nadorf, and if I play d4, he only to play, let's say, Queen's Pawn exchange the like this or
very solid,
very solid opening. I will just even if I'm a d4 player, I can also choose to play e4. Maybe I just need 1 hour. I can find some
some
line.
promising line, and you're right. Yeah, so it changed the preparation entirely. The fact that we have computers. And what's funny, so back in the day, I remember, like we already have computers and maybe decent computers, but still not everything is analyzed. One of the options was to say, okay, I don't want to prepare, or I don't know what to prepare. I will play b3 first move, and I figure it out. Now you have 20 moves of theory in b3, right?
Yes,
or Reti, or whatever, any sideline you can imagine. People analyzed with computers.
You know, I have a funny story I want to tell. I play against a friend. We just train together sometimes, and I want to play a blitz game against him, and I play b3. I say I just want to avoid your opening preparation. And he played e5, and I want to show you the what we played. I played bishop b2, knight c6, e3. And he played d5, I played bishop b5, and he played knight e7.
And now I know that this is actually a very, very forcing line.
Yeah, it's a very forcing line, and I take a6, and after a few moves, I lost the game, and he said, I prepared this, I know all this line. It's a good
bishop
line.
b2, queen g5, I think they go, So it's incredible, it's incredible.
Yes.
And what also is amazing that, well, the way like people see the game of chess, like there's a lot been said about like white having an advantage. There was a guy, well, Vsevolod Rauser. We know him at Rauser variations. So he was convinced, and he was even like writing some articles. E4 and white wins. So that was his theory. So e4 was such a strong move that, okay, he was probably a bit delusional, but anyway. So, but anyway, we had these conversations all the time, like white's advantage is so big, blah, blah, blah. Then computers come about, and we understand, yes, black holds, but also probably like maybe 2 moves on. Like against e4, you can play e5 and c5. Against d4, maybe d5 and nimmt. So these are the correct openings. Everything else is bad. And then next generation of computers comes, and now you understand you can play anything. There is no refutation to like weirdest lines, like Budapest Gambit can be played and stuff like this. So the only difference is that how healthy your position is. Like because yes, computer can defend like some very stupid positions that you would think, okay, I'm almost winning, and still you cannot beat the computer. But we play on the board, and that means it's not only what computer has to think, but also how comfortable you are, which our players, by the way, are very comfortable. Zhongyi proved, like I'm not afraid of your computer preparation. I'm just like, I believe in, and after A4, Wenjun, it's actually down to half an hour.
Yes.
So, well, for a simple reason that there is not, it's not like she's calculating something. She's desperately looking for the way to keep the game going, and probably will not find it.
Yes, and there's another signal to show Tan is in very good form. Is she is the first one to be outplayed in this game. Wenjun played bishop g5, and after bishop g5, Tan Zhongyi has I think she think about this move for some time, but now we see after 20 moves later, this position Tan Zhongyi is 20 minutes.
20 minutes more
ahead. So. Yes, so it shows very good form for Tan Zhongyi.
And also I guess also confidence matters, right? So that's because sometimes you understand the position is good, but like you second checking and okay, do I blunder something? No, she trusts herself, and that's very important. That's very important for matches like this. I ran out of ideas like how to keep this game going. Back to d2, but no, this is not the way you play for a win.
Yeah.
And otherwise, just pawns disappear from the queen side. You take the d5 pawn, and this is it. So that's move what? Move 23.
Yes,
23.
I cannot even find a move to continue the
pressure.
Yeah,
like how do you? It's impossible.
Let's say b takes a4, rook b4. If I play,
Is there anything?
For example, if I play rook d5.
Rook to d5, rook a4,
and I play rook d2.
Rook d2, bishop e6.
I want to play a stupid move here, maybe.
Bishop e6, and after
this is
to take on e6.
It's
like it's nice, but also like, do we play for a win here?
Yes,
not really.
Yes, it's very
not really. Like you're safe probably with knight on e3, g3, king g2. Probably you're safe, but like, do we really play for a win?
Yeah, this is a white play for a draw. So. So let's say it's just.
Probably just a good game overall, and we should not be looking too much. Well, we have to accept that perfectly played game of chess is probably a draw, right? I mean, if both sides play perfect, it's probably a draw. But we are lucky that the game is not too simple, because let's say a game of checkers got studied completely, right? And I don't think you need to be a grandmaster, whatever their title is, but even like decent players, they know most of the, like say, opening, and they know how to keep a draw and make a draw. So these guys, they actually have drawing of lots for opening moves. Maybe we will have it in the future. Like, like before the game, you have to play, c3, and black has to play e6, and then the game starts.
Yes.
But the problem is, like, the patterns will still be the same, the structures will be the same.
Yes. But maybe after, for example, if we say I have c3, you have to play e6. Maybe another engine will say after here we can have some opening after c3, e6, something, and maybe.
I mean, people will start analyzing it. So you either take it all the way to like Fischer random, which is, well, it's a different game still.
Yeah.
It's a different game. Or we will have to, well, accept that there is a lot dependent on opening preparation. B takes A4 play, then rook B4 in an instance. Very, 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 I mean, confident. Yeah, what can you say? Confident, not second guessing herself. Rook B4 wins back the pawn. And well, if white wanted to simplify, there is no point, yeah. Like, I mean, you just take d5, and as you said, go d2. Maybe go knight e3. So g4 pawn is hanging for now, but rook a8.
But rook a8.
Rook a8, and that's it.
Yeah, you have to play rook a1 if you want to continue, but...
But again, like black, I mean, probably f5 and you can win the pawn if you wanted to, but also like if I just like shuffle like rook a3 for instance and just wait.
Yes.
Like cannot be, I cannot imagine any like sort of winning plan for white.
Yes.
It's just a fortress. Let's see. Let's see. Any additional information? Well, the thing is, we still have 11 more games after this one, right?
Yes.
So if I forget to mention something, you guys can ask us through the social media or this way, that way, and we will happily share all the information. From what I know, there's a substantial prize fund of 500,000 euro, if I'm not mistaken, which will be split 60-40%. Right, so 300,000 for the winner, 200,000 for the loser. You cannot call a loser somebody who participated in the World Championship match. It's a second place, like second best in the world. Loser, it's me when I play chess nowadays. Like it doesn't go very well. But yeah, I'm waiting I'm waiting to return for big chess scene because FIDE invented the younger seniors, right? Yeah. So now it used to be like World Senior Championship used to be over 65. So I'm still not too close to 65. But now they also have over 50. So I have to wait a few more years, and I can go back and play World Championship.
Yes, but I think you will be a very competitive player in the.
Yeah, well, depends on how other people will decide. Like if. You know, maybe Kramnik will decide to play. Maybe Leko. Leko is born 79, I born 78. So maybe I will have 1 year that nobody is there, and then if they will decide, like Peter Leko will come and guys like this. Which, by the way, brings me to another discussion which might actually pop up next days as well. Because of the computer, or simply because like the development of our societies, chess become very young. A game for very young players. Like, so in a way, us having both players over 30 in a World Championship match is unique, right? Because you look at the Open, and then Gukesh, our world champion, is barely 18, right? Then Ding was older, but still, like it's a lot of very young players. Because nowadays, again, maybe because of computer, because of internet, you have access to information very much faster. And even with the openings, as we discussed, like back in the day, I remember when we would get our database, there was no computers, right? Our database was Chess Informant. And Chess Informant, it was published, I think, once in half a year, and then maybe once in 3 months. So to get some fresh ideas, you wait for 3 months. And now this game is played, and I can, like the game finished in half hour, I can analyze this opening, right? So that's amazing. So access to coaches as well through internet, like some people just work online, and so it's a lot of young talents. A5 played, and now we said rook B5 should be
played.
Should be absolutely equal after that. Yeah, rook b5. Let me see if computer finds any tricky ideas. So knight e3, for instance, rook a5, rook d5, rook a2, rook d4.
Okay, but
no,
it
cannot be serious. Yeah, it cannot be serious. Like you can play f5 and probably hold, but also you can just let them take.
Yes.
King g7, knight g4, exchange on g4.
And rook a8. It's
rook a8, and then next move rook a1. 3 versus 2. Yeah, it's impossible to lose.
I'm sure it will be a draw in the World Championship match.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought we will have if we have interest in playing chess and we just love what we did, what we focused on, and there is no loser after.
Yeah, that's true. But also, like for the tournament like this,
yes,
one can say, or rather for the match like this, one can say, yeah, it's a lot of money, you still win, and so on and so on. But of course, yeah, when you're already there,
yes.
You want to win. Yeah, you want to win. So as they say, like the appetite comes along. Yeah. So when, let's say, you start participating in this whole cycle thing, so you have to qualify to the candidates tournament.
Yeah.
Then you have to win the candidates tournament. So before that, if somebody says, okay, you will win the candidates and then lose the match, you say, okay, I mean, first I have to make it to the candidates. So it's a great deal, but when you're already playing the match, no, you want to win. That's how it goes. A5. Yeah, there should be many various ways.
If I think rook b5, it's also it's not the only move here.
Yeah, well, d4, interestingly, is also possible to play. I don't know if if it really represents Black's attempt to play for a win.
Yeah.
But it maybe is a more aggressive move, if you will. Yeah, like d4, you cannot play knight e3 now. So there is, like, say, rook e4,
rook
d8.
Well, I think maybe Tan will play d4.
Maybe you can even, like, pose some problems.
Yes, because it seems like d4 is also I mean, after a few moves, if I feel I'm not in good form, I still can play rook a4.
Rook a4 take both pawns and
and make
so
a draw.
d4 maybe is the most kind of the trickiest move. And strangely, now I do not see how white kind of wins the d4 pawn comfortably.
Yes.
I say rook e4, rook d8, and well, can I? Yeah, I see. The computer gives equal because white has to jump knight e3.
Yeah, for example,
using the trick.
If I play f5.
Knight e3, f5, and knight c2.
You have this.
So some tricks, yes. Tricks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, knight c2 is very good.
Yeah, so instead of f5, just like go rook a4, knight c2, take everything, and again same position. Yeah. But yeah, then we like d4, right? Because
d4
it's like even like poses some slight problems for white.
I think
if white's not careful. Then.
Yes, if in the World Championship match, I think if you are sure d4, you can. For example, after d4, rook e4, and I can later to play rook a4 to force the draw. I think d4 is better because it is like tell your opponent.
I'm not afraid of you. Actually, you should be afraid of me. Yes. So I'm not here to make a draw. I'm here to play chess. If you're, absolutely. So it's to kind of to signal that I'm confident. And I'm not running away from you. Let's just I believe this is a good move, so let's play it.
Yes.
This will be, again, it will probably not change the outcome of the game. But this is an interesting moment, right? If she plays d4 or not. Also, Wenjun is down to 24 minutes. I said time trouble will never be an issue, but now imagine like Tan plays d4, and Zhu spends, I don't know, 15 minutes and decides that rook e4 is not possible. And then once again we have a game all of a sudden, because she will be somewhat short on time. This, by the way, and again, I'm telling this pretty much on every event I'm covering, the bad effect of having access to an engine is that people at home usually watch the engine evaluation all the time, and it's it's good, you guys know what the good moves are, but also sometimes it's like in a position like this, it says anything you do is a draw. But when you're at the board, right? I mean, and it's not so easy sometimes. And again, you have to make decisions, and this is how people sometimes lose drawish positions or do not win winning positions. And then at home you look at, okay, it was so easy. It's just this move, that move. But yeah, when you're at the board, it's absolutely different atmosphere. No one's assisting you. And sometimes you don't even know what the evaluation of the position is. I'm watching and it says +5, so I know you're winning. But at the board, it's just a messy position. I maybe have an idea, okay, I should be better, but no one tells me you're winning, right? It's one of the arguments I remember having with Peter Swidler, when first there were like suspicions of somebody cheating and so on, and people were discussing like, how do you do it technically? And he says, the worst is like for the best players in the world, you don't have to tell them moves.
Yes.
You just have to tell them, okay, here you have something.
Yeah, it's a critical
and then,
moment
critical moment. You have one move that is basically telling, there is one move that's better than the others. So think and find it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Well, speaking of, we have taken all the anti-cheating measures possible, and to be honest, I do not see these players doing any stupid things against each other. No, it's just like absolutely irrelevant. But yeah, it's strangely become hot topic. I would prefer it not to be, like, but yeah, some people just, some people do stupid things. Rook a4. Okay, fair enough. Maybe makes our task a little bit easier.
Yes, but
still d4 was an interesting try.
Yes.
Now
I mean rook a4 for me is rook b5 may be better than rook a4.
So rook a4 we can take d5.
Yes, and the white is first to no chance to lose the game.
And also like for the moment, white's kind of up a pawn. Yeah. So rook d5. What do we do? Bishop e6 maybe.
Bishop e6. Yes.
Rook c5 or whatever. Rook e5. Rook c5. Let's say.
c5. Yes.
Rook a2. And the plan is to go rook a8, and it's impossible to stop. Yeah, maybe still nothing. Maybe still nothing. Even this g4 pawn is impossible to win, right? Maybe no. Now I'm not in time. Okay. Rook d5.
Rook d5, yes.
Rook d5.
I think bishop e6.
Bishop e6 played fast. Yeah. Okay, maybe rook g5.
Rook g5.
Maybe
I like
rook
this move.
g5, so that we go maybe knight e3 and somehow try to win.
Yes, and if you play rook a2, maybe I can try rook e6, because I can take a lot of pawns on the king side, maybe.
So
but
still probably rook e6, f6, f2 is hanging. Yeah. So
yes.
So we'll drop f2. That there was some interesting. Wait a second. So there was some interesting line. Rook takes d5, bishop e6, rook g5, bishop f5 is a possible move.
Yes, I totally.
And then they want to play. They want to play f6.
Yes.
So we go. It's still not bad because we go knight g3 or e3. After f6, we take on f5 with the rook. knight f5, and it's probably still equal.
Yes.
Right. But somehow it's very hard to believe like any of these positions that white will have realistic winning chances.
Yes.
Like it's even like pleasant to play with white sometimes, like if everything is defended, but like to win, it should be like, yeah, it should be something outstanding happening here.
Yeah.
Bishop e6. Okay, let's see. Where does she get? No, she went rook c5. Rook c5. Rook takes a2. Getting closer and closer to move 40, and also the position is getting simpler and simpler. And now I do not see the way to defend a5 pawn.
Yes. If
Rook a8, rook takes a5, and this
yes.
is it.
If white want to play rook e5 to defend on a5, I think it's a blunder. Okay, I think it's not good because rook b8 and you have too much.
Rook b2 and rook b1, both being very unpleasant. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So
you actually can. Yeah, you're probably in trouble. Yeah.
yes. So maybe just give up the a5 pawn. It's the only way.
Mm-hmm. Not much to do. So once again, if we were to revisit the critical moments of this game, so it all started, I think, with move 5, we can say, the first, not the big surprise, but like already a new move was bishop d3, which quickly led to this knight c6, and on move 8, I think, was the next interesting moment when black plays g6. And later on we checked and it was played, right? So it's still somebody's preparation. So g6, bishop g5, and then Tan played a new move. At least there is no such move in the database, h7, h6, followed by bishop e7. And I don't know. Next, after black's knight d7 on move 13, this is where Wenjun spent quite a lot of time.
Yes.
Considering both exchange on e7 or bishop g3, ended up exchanging. And again, and I think maybe this is the only moment where computer was saying like knight f3, white is slightly more pleasant,
yes.
but that would be a totally different game. Yeah, knight f3, maybe this was the way to fight. c4 looks very forcing, very like normal for this position. That's what she has done, but then knight e5 is probably a clever response.
Yes.
And almost by force we got this this position, this endgame.
Yes, and I think knight e5 is the brilliant move for black in this position.
Yeah, knight d3, cd5, and you cannot really do much.
Yes, bishop h6, and we have discussed about this position.
Yeah, takes this one, and then queen d5, rook d8.
Yes, this is better for black in the endgame.
Yeah, rook c2, we thought this black can have some chances. Yes, and when we gotten this endgame with black's isolated pawn on d5, I think Zhongyi played just perfectly.
Yes.
Like also again, like coming back to this discussion that computer says anything is a draw, but still you have to make moves that make sense. And she played like rook b8, b3, g4, like avoiding the knight to get to d4.
Yeah.
It's a very logical, very clean solution. Really, really nice.
Yes, I think rook b8 and g4 to stop white to play. To stop white to play knight d4 from both sides, b3 and f3 is a very clean decision for black.
That's clever. That's exactly this conversation that we had. Like by committing really small mistakes, you can lose the game. So first you allow the knight on d4, and maybe the position is still equal, but then you allow something else and something else, and then at the end you didn't notice, and your position is already quite problematic. While here, seems like she has no trouble whatsoever. After rook a2, Wenjun, I don't think she finds any. Yeah, maybe this rook g5 is the try, but not 3. Ah, no, wait, it was rook g5 immediately, I think. Yeah, with,
yes.
yes, and now rook g5 would be with a
Bishop
tempo
B,
loss. Yeah,
yeah.
rook g5, bishop f5, this one.
Knight e3, maybe the...
Yeah,
yes,
6, rook takes, knight takes. Yeah, but again, I guess you can just like go maybe rook a8.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
I like this move.
After, actually, it is a little bit annoying for white even. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you probably, again, like if you want a draw, you can just like go knight e3, g3, and probably still make a draw. But
Yes, and that's
for white to play for a win, it's almost impossible. Yeah.
Yes.
So, move 31. Still not allowed to agree a draw. Even if they wanted to. Even if they wanted to, they're not allowed to agree a draw. Wenjun down to 17 minutes, but there is also the increment, and like she can pretty much just pass 2 moves, knight e3,
yes.
rook a8, and just do something. Black's gonna take on a5. This will be it. Speaking of simple endgames, the endgame Ding Liren lost in the last game.
Yeah.
This is so painful.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm still under the impression of this like very strange World Championship match, because we had like a few games with Ding from good old times, like when he was like crushing, seeing everything, and then all of a sudden the next day the other Ding comes, wants a draw from move 1 and can't even make it. So it's quite sad.
Yes. I think according to Ding's saturation, his performance is, I think, using all his energy to perform well in the World Championship match.
Mm-hmm. So it's and well, actually, this is also a thing that players differ. Not only like by their best chess, but also by their worst chess. Because some people, doesn't matter how bad they feel, how depressed they feel, they cannot drop below certain level. Like, let's say,
yes.
and from the, let's say, I don't know, I don't want to give like, modern players, but from the older champions, let's say Karpov, he would always play like on a very good level, even like without energy, maybe not inspired, but what we call play with your hand, like not thinking, but just you have the culture for making good moves. And some players, they would be like geniuses in a good form, and then like you are out of form and everybody's beating you. Yeah, so here I don't think any of these ladies really will fall apart. They both are very resilient.
Yes.
Yeah, they're both very resilient, so we will not see anything like, okay, losing game after game after game. It will be a very, very tough match. Knight e3, rook a8 played. So we are getting closer and closer to this situation with 3 versus 3 on the king side.
And usually the player who can perform almost all the time in good form, I think it's a very solid player. Most of them
you're right, because like if you play very unbalanced position, then you really depend more on your energy, on your kind of good mood and so on.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you, let's say, if you're not at your best and you still force yourself to do all this like complicated nonsense, it's very hard to control.
Yes.
Yeah. So, right. So, for instance, Magnus, I think if he switches to, like, say, I don't want to lose, I want to be solid, he can be like super solid for a very, very long time. White just played knight to d5.
Yes. This is a signal to...
It's pretty much a draw. If you want, you can take my knight and take the pawn on a5 and we go home happily.
Yes. Yeah,
it's
a signal like offering a draw. Yes.
Does black ever want to play on? I was thinking like some very stupid scenario. If you take a5, let's say rook a5, and somehow, no, I don't know. I wanted to find a way to get in trouble with white, but there is no such way. Yeah, like say knight e3, f5 maybe, and
G3?
then g3, king f7, and then maybe like in some dream g5, f4.
Yes, bishop to f3. Something.
Yeah, but again, it's like it's not very likely. It's not very likely that there is anything. But at least, yeah, I mean, this we can understand black if she wants to play on a little bit, some position like this. But of course, white doesn't have to go to e3, I'm thinking. Like in our line, if black chose to take twice, maybe you go knight f4 instead.
Yes.
And this should be knight f4, bishop f5. One of the ways to stop black from playing for a win would be to go h4.
Yeah.
h4, and if you want to take en passant, I'll just take with the knight. Very boring.
Yes.
Very boring, and this is it. Yeah.
Maybe we will see this happen in the game.
Yeah. By the way, because yes, the other version where black tries a little, it's quite innocent. Yes, white should be able to make a draw, but still, why? Yeah, you don't want such situations when your opponent is pressing. That's also part of match strategy, that any tiny advantage you have, ideally you should try playing on. Yeah? Ideally you should try playing on.
Yes.
So knight to d5. But also black doesn't have any chance to lose this, right? So there is like no reason to take the knight on d5.
Yes, I also think so.
Why is she pausing? Is there other moves she see?
Maybe she want to make sure there are some tricks for white after rook a5, but I don't believe white have some tricks here.
Yeah, like how do you? Yeah.
Let's say, for example, if I play knight e7, if you play king f8,
the pawn. I cannot even take.
Yes,
cannot even take on g6.
Yeah, so
even this doesn't really work.
Yeah, I think knight f4, bishop f5, h4 seems
h4 is like very solid way of stopping pretty much any tries.
Yeah, and after h4, I think black
probably has to take. I mean, not has to, but just takes, knight takes,
and that's it.
We finally see a handshake for game one.
Yes, because I think if black don't play bishop d5 to play rook a5, it's the position which black can. I mean, I don't want to say play for a win, but it's a little bit.
Maybe more pleasant for black, something like this. Again, like when we were discussing the previous, we said like equal position, but we want to play white.
Yes.
Here, like if you have to choose it, you probably choose black.
Yes, but after bishop d5, maybe it's a bit passive.
Like doesn't matter.
Yes, because you have a g4 pawn. Also, this is an easy draw, but maybe everyone wants to play with white. So yes. I think.
Yeah, she does take on a5. Rook a takes a5. Rooks exchanged on a5. Rook takes.
And I think knight f4 is also on the board.
Yes, knight f4 is on the board. And then after.
I think bishop
f5. Well, in fact, after any move, yeah, you can play h4. Yep, bishop f5 played.
Yes.
Bishop f5 played. Yeah, and you probably want to play h4 indeed, because Otherwise, it's not like black is winning or something, but black is the one having some activity.
Yes.
Like G5, bring the king closer, and
Yes.
you are actually quite passive. Yeah. So the safest would be to go well, H4 or H3 for this matter. H3 is probably kind of the same.
Mhm. So let's say about after H4, if I want to play for a win, but it's very ridiculous. I go king G7. I have an idea if I play king rook to H8 and I put my bishop here and then G5.
Ah, and then G5. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, actually, yeah. So let's say I
Too
go
much.
G3, maybe like something stupid.
Yes.
G3, rook here.
This is too much.
Yeah, it's probably well, white will have some time. Yeah, like even rook E3 maybe. No, rook E3 is this is where you go check and bishop D7 and and again it's sometimes you get in trouble simply because you think like anything is a draw, right?
Yes.
Anything is a draw, and you do something stupid and all of a sudden it's no longer a draw. Yeah, so maybe then H3 is even better than H4. Like to just go H3, exchange the pawn.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Not even like H3. Now G5 you can take on G4 intermediate. And she does it. Yes, H2, H3 from the world champion. Move number 32.
32.
So 8 more moves until they allowed to agree a draw, but also like very, very straightforward. After black takes on H3, you're forced to take with the knight, and then black takes the knight, you take, yes, it's will be. So today will be a relatively short game, I believe. Like I don't think we will see any of like very quick draws. Like sometimes that happen in men's in opens world championship, like sometimes they make like really quick draws. I don't think our ladies will do any of that, and I expect quite the opposite. So each game played at least to move 40, and sometimes we'll have some like really, really long end games. So this could be one of the shorter games of this match. Knight H3. Yeah, not much you can do.
I remember last time between those two players in the women's world championship match, there's no any short draws like this.
Yeah, they play usually like whenever there is a slightest chance they continue playing.
Yes.
Right here though there is no chance.
Yes. Actually, today they want to play for a big fight, but in the Sicilian. But anyway, both players plays really good games, so no chance to.
Yeah, it was not like the game that they intended to make a draw from move on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was a fighting game. White, came up with like an idea. Black found the way to neutralize this idea, and I think we are witnessing the repetition.
Yes.
And a first game of FIDE Women's World Championship match 2025 will be a draw. Right, and here off they go. The handshake. First game is officially over. The score is level.
Yeah.
Half a point each, and they will play 11 more games. All right, so I think we wrapped up. Like, I mean, we checked the critical moments. How do you feel? First day in the office, is it okay?
Yes, for me it's a pleasure to be a part of the members in the World Championship match, and to see both players and to broadcast their games is it's totally different from I see the games in the computer and I lay on the bed in the home. It's totally different.
Yeah, it's the atmosphere. I mean, we are in a beautiful studio and we are just a few meters away from the stage where they're playing. And by the way, on the blue board you just saw King E4, which is a mistake. It's
yes.
not. This move did not happen. Yeah. It's for those of you who are wondering, guys. In order to fix the result on digital board, you have to put the kings in the center. And sometimes an arbiter puts the king on E4, and if it's a legal move, it registers as if the king went to E4. So it did not happen. Our players will not make such mistakes. At least we hope they won't. Well, thanks very much. First game of the World Championship match 2025 is in the books, and we will have more to come. And precisely something that we've forgotten to talk about was the schedule. Because yes, we do have the game tomorrow, but usually World Championship matches have a lot of free days. Well, the general schedule will be after each 2 games, we will have a free day. So tomorrow, game 2, please join us, same time, same place. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Also things to choose. Yes.
好，我们马上就要开始今天的棋手交流会了。We may start very soon. First, let's welcome Charlize as the press officer of FIDE to start. 我们首先请 Charlize 来跟我们分享。
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first official press conference of the first game of the FIDE Women's World Championship match. The game concluded in a draw, and my first question for both players is how you feel about this result, especially Zhu playing with the white pieces.
欢迎大家今天来参加第一场的棋手交流会。那今天是国际棋联女子世界冠军赛对抗赛的第一场，刚刚结束，对局结果呢是和棋。那我们新闻官第一个问题呢是给2位棋手的，今天的是一场和棋，然后大家有什么感受？尤其是居文君执白棋，那请居文君先回答吧。
我 觉得今天这盘棋，可能大家都比较平淡吧。我虽然说开局可能是一个比较不对称的结构，但是总的来说很快就进行了一些交换。那么一盘和棋，那么比赛也刚刚开始，我觉得也是一个比较正常的一个结果。
The game went calm and peaceful for a while. The position was unsymmetrical, but there was not too much chance. And Zhu was satisfied for the first game to be concluded in a draw. It's a very reasonable result.
作为后手的话，我肯定是非常满意这个结果的。但是比赛才刚开始，我觉得双方可能都还在找自己的节奏。整体这盘棋我感觉，确实比较波澜不惊。可能，随着可能比赛的发展，大家可能会有一些调整。
For Tan Zhongyi, the first game with black ended in a draw is quite good for her. It's the very beginning of the match. For her to find a tempo is really important. So she believes that in the future they will get better soon. And the first game is quite well for her.
And from the chess side of things, we saw a Sicilian in the French variation, and both players seemed to blitz out the opening moves very quickly. Zhu opted for a sideline with bishop d3, and Tan started thinking after bishop g5 from white. Were you both surprised by your opponent's preparations? And Tan, did you feel a little uncomfortable or unaware of this bishop g5 line? Both players.
好，那我们新闻官第二个问题呢是说，今天的这个对局一开始是西西里防御，然后转成了这个比较有意思的这个法兰西便利。那白方呢选择了比较早的走向第三，之后呢，白方走了象G5之后，黑方进行了比较长时间的思考。那在这个过程中，他也想问问两个棋手是怎么样想的。那我们这边先问一下谭中怡来。
他象G5这步棋，就我当时在评估他是怎么样的一个心态，就是这个花了一些时间。但是我还是觉得，可能不要想太多，就走棋就好了。
For the move after bishop g5, Tan Zhongyi evaluated the psychological reason behind that move, and she decided that it's better not to think too much, just go with the flute.
那这盘棋我觉得我的对手应对的也是，应对的比较好的，所以我也没有找到特别的机会。
Zhu Wenjun finds that her opponent has a very strong defense. She tried very hard, but not too much had been yield.
My final question to the players before we open up the floor. The first game is over now. Are your nerves a little bit more settled? And how do you feel for the rest of the match?
我们新闻官最后一个问题是给双方棋手的。那第一场比赛结束之后，大家有没有感觉到说状态进入了一点，会更好一点？那之后有没有什么特别的准备？
我觉得比赛刚开始嘛，也会慢慢的进入状态。那么对于比赛，我觉得就是享受这个过程就好了。
It's just the beginning of the match. Zhu Wenjun believes that she will gradually put her effort to get the best form.
我觉得双方就是现在因为刚开始嘛，都比较谨慎，然后所以说没有太过多的去，就是说走一些非常 激进的这种，虽然是可能看起来是西西里的开局，但是我的对手作为先手，他还是选择了更局面这样的一个下法，所以说我觉得总的来说目前还没有感到太大的压力。
For the first game, even though it was in Sicilian, but actually the variation was quite calm. Tan Zhongyi is quite satisfied about that.
Thank you very much. Now we will take some questions from journalists from the floor.
感谢两位棋手的精彩回答。那我们现在就请大家记者朋友们可以提问了。您可以举手，我们会给到麦克，或者您大声点就行。
这个问题是对具文君的一个提问，就是我们理 chess 团队有一个 FM， 想问您在14步的时候花了18分钟想象E7那步棋，然后还有一个可能是走象G3，然后可能会保持一些对局面的这个压力。您当时是怎么选择的？想的呢？
就是这个棋，我觉得，我觉得象E7是一个更多的是一种，我感觉是一部比较合理或者说更在考虑范围之内的棋吧。可能象G3会更加的复杂一点，但是也许也是一个不错的选择，所以我没有太多的进行一些计算。
Could you please repeat the question in English, Lian?
Yeah, a question from the Li chess team. For Ji Wenjun, you spent quite some time for move 14. So after 18 minutes, you decided to play bishop takes on e7. The interesting alternative was bishop takes on g3, keeping some tension. And yeah, what was the particular thoughts process in that move?
Ju Wenjun believes that bishop takes e7 was more logical at the time, and she tried to think about bishop g3, but she didn't want to take too much risk at the time.
Do we have any further questions?
Yeah, also a question for Zhu Wenjun on move 23. She thought for roughly around 20 minutes or so. I was just wondering if she could share a little bit about some of the stuff she might have been thinking about. I think it was 23. Yeah.
23回合的时候，这位记者问具文君有进行长考，那当时的这个思维过程是什么样的？
我觉得可能局面将会走向和棋，但是仍然可以有一些选择，所以我就思考了一下，然后走了，然后可能花了一些时间吧，但是我觉得对结果没有太大的变化。
Zhu Wenjun thought that at that moment the game could be most likely ended in a draw. She tried her best to squeeze something, but in fact at the end she thought it is probably the best to keep it that way.
If there will be no further questions, I think that concludes our very first game press conference. Game 2 will be tomorrow, 3 p.m. local time, and Tan Zhongyi will play with the white pieces. We'll see you then.
如果没有更多的问题的话，我们这个第一场新闻交流会就结束了。那明天呢，还是3点钟，我们的谭忠仪会执白先行。那也欢迎各位记者朋友们一起来报道这个赛事，一起来享受国际象棋。感谢大家。